Greetings, everyone. Yes, I'm landing airplanes right now. I, yeah, I work best with the headset, so eventually the hat will come off. I want you to see my attempt at the garb. I'm going to give you a, short um, PowerPoint presentation, and then we'll get dancing. Um, I, of course, I neglected to say that we do use little scarves, but you don't have to have them. You can use a napkin, piece of paper towel. It's mostly the arm movements that we'll be focusing on, and the foot movements are very minor. So if you would like to do this while sitting, you could as well. So if you have any physical issues that prevents you from standing and moving in that way, um, and there you can see my name again. So this is the classical court dance of Al-Andalus. Um, this is, let's see. So a brief history of Al-Andalus, which you can see scrolling on the in the waiting room area. There was a Roman presence. The Visigoths came in and brought a Germanic influence. The Islamic conquest was in 711 and by the Amazigh from North Africa. There were still Christian kingdoms in the north, and there were varying degrees of power and control and influence and collaboration. So that's like really I'm painting it with a very broad brush because there's people who are much better versed in the history of the region than I. Um, anyway, there were different periods of emigration back to North Africa and to other parts of the Near and Middle East. And the final expulsion took place about 1492. So final expulsion or conversion. And here's a interesting map that I found. It shows you, if you look at the top left, it shows you the Emirate of Cordova, and that's Spain in 910, in the year 910. And then you can look to the one on the top right. It shows the Emirate of Toledo and the different emirates that were there. It's outlined in purple this time. You can see it's a little smaller, and that's around 1037. Then the next one down in 1150, you can see it's quite a bit smaller. And finally in 1212 to 1492, very, very tiny at the bottom. So what is Andalusian music and dance? You'll hear me say Al-Andalus or Andalusian. Today, more people think of Andalusian dance, they think of flamenco. And if you ask somebody if they know Andalusian style dance, they will probably think of flamenco. Flamenco came later, but there was an intersection and they did influence each other. Um, the schools of training, the music schools there had very, very strict rules for learning and performance in order to preserve the style. They really emphasized playing it as written. There was no, you couldn't just go off on a wild tear and ad lib. You really had to follow the rules, the scales, all sorts of things. Women had their own orchestras, and this was true in Al Andalus and is still true today in the Maghreb, North Africa. Um, Performers were revered and they came from well respected families. So it wasn't like, sometimes the way musicians have been thought of over the ages. These are very, very well respected professionals. And the women were not looked down upon as performers at all. They were very well respected. Their families were well respected. Um, and then this style was brought back to North Africa when the Muslims and Jews were expelled from Spain, and it's still taking place there. There's conservatoires or music schools in North Africa. They still teach the music, the rhythms. The rhythms are very, most dancers are familiar with, the Raqs Sharqi rhythms, which are mainly Egyptian and from the Levant. They the North African rhythms are very different and complex, and the Andalusian rhythms are again also very, very complex. Um, there's a few different styles, but they change throughout the piece, so it's tricky. um, and it is still performed today at weddings and formal concerts. It's a living culture, so it didn't die in 1492. It's still alive, and of course, from a purely historical standpoint, I'm sure it changed. Everything is a fusion. Everything gets influenced by other cultures coming in. So, um, yeah. So after the expulsion, as I said, sorry, I duplicated that part on my slide. It's they continue to teach. My background, I have a background in international folk dance and dances from the Maghreb and Central Asia, Tajikistan and Afghanistan specifically. Um, I've studied and performed with the local Amazigh community. Amazigh, excuse me, is in the Amazigh language is the word for Berber. Berber is considered kind of an insult because it's related to barbarian. So I use the word Amazigh, and they call North Africa Tamazgha. Uh, Maghreb is an Arabic word. So again, it gets tricky and complicated, but I will use Maghreb and I'll use Amazigh. Um, I've done a lot of reading and I've done some coursework in Islamic art in Al-Andalus. I traveled through Morocco and studied there for a bit. Not long, but I did take a trip there and did study with some teachers there, which was incredible. I've had extensive study with Amel Tafsut, who, if you don't know who she is, definitely look her up. She is a phenomenal source teacher. She's from Algeria. She's also has two master's degrees. She speaks multiple languages, and so she can do the research in Arabic, in French, in German, in English, in Amazigh. So she's quite phenomenal resource. And I've also studied with some other source dancers, Hassania El Badisi, who's now back living in Morocco, sadly. I mean, happy for her, but sad for us. And there have been incredible opportunities over Zoom. I was able to study Amazigh dance with a woman from Kabylia in Paris. So I would never have been able to do that before. So I've really been trying to take advantage of that. Uh, and hopefully that will continue as we open up more. So let's talk a little bit about the costumes. Let's see what time we're at. Okay, the costumes. This is the regional costume from Algiers, the capital city of Algeria. This is called a karakou. I posted a article that was written in French, and I put the translation. I tried to correct it as much as possible. It's up on the Google Drive, and it also has some pictures. Um, it's the top photo is from the late 1800s, and the other ones are, of course, more modern, but it shows you a detail of that embroidery. It's just phenomenal. And they're very expensive. They're like $1,000 in Algeria. So, you know, uh, good luck. Good luck finding a deal on those. Um, as you can, well, I'll show you what I'm wearing and explain what I did to kind of make a face stopped. So, and now it's back in progress. Okay.
We're back. Sorry about that. My internet wibbled.
No worries. No worries. It does that. Anyway, this outfit is obviously it's not worn every day. It's worn for fancy occasions, but the Algerians are very proud of it. The Algerian women, they're very proud of this outfit. It's a cultural symbol. This is a dress from Constantine, and you can see it's a long dress made out of a heavy velvet with cap sleeves, and again, all that beautiful embroidery. And the blouse underneath has gold embroidery, gold jewelry. I mean, it's phenomenal, and it's a long dress. It goes to the floor. Also, the lace blouse underneath was kind of falling apart, but still, it was just I had never seen one in person. I almost started crying. I'm one of those. I get weepy when I see things like this. Okay, so that's the end of the slideshow. Are there any questions? No. Take a peek at the chat. Oh, Janine Beetle. Hmm. Yeah, when I was in junior high, I always thought I had an unusual name. There were two other Janines in the junior high, and we all had our lockers right in the same area. It was like we were all so mad because we were used to having a unique name. And anyway, so let's I'll show you my outfit, my attempt. Okay, how did I make my hat? Okay, my hat is very precarious because I don't have anything sewn or pinned on it. This is actually a belt that I found at a thrift store. I'm a mad thrift store shopper. So I have found Moroccan dresses at thrift stores. I've found Kabyle dresses at thrift stores. It's insane. Um, so obviously I don't have a super embroidered gold blouse. And if I step back, it looks embroidered. Don't look at it too close, please. But I did the sleeves. I need a little more. I put something on the back. Voila. And I've got a gold skirt, kind of like it could be a Renaissance or a pirate blouse or whatever, but the sleeves, they usually had bell sleeves on their outfit. And sometimes the jacket was cropped in front and longer in the back, like mine. Uh, Other times it's hip length and very fitted here. So there's a wide variety. There's also a vest. So before the karakou, they had just a very nicely embroidered, excuse me, vest that they also wore. And again, there's an Ottoman influence, definitely. What was it like before? I kind of looked to the grand robe from the Jewish tradition. So I tried to kind of adjust. This is just one of those big Moroccan belts, and then a fringe scarf and a long skirt. So we'll see how long all of this stays on. But for now, I am going to take the hat off. So just one moment. Okay, that's a lot easier with the headphones, and now they won't come off. But as you can, I'll show you how I cheated on this. I just kind of I just kind of tied it on. I need to stitch it, but nothing like the last minute. All right. So let me put on some music, uh, and we will. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. You can see what I did. I'll tell you what I did. This are there. They're pieces of lace that you can buy at the fabric store, and then I hand painted them gold, which was insane. I used a fabric paint to paint them gold, and then I top stitch them onto the jacket, which I also got at a thrift store out of stretchy velvet. Oh, so anyway, I think yeah, I mean they take a little bit of maintenance, and it's been a while since I wore this, so hopefully everything will stay on while we move. Let's see. Any other questions before we get started? Yeah, usually these are all embroidered by hand. So, I mean, talk about painstaking. But for anybody who's an embroiderer, there's your challenge. Okay, let me get some music on, and I'll check and make sure that um, you can hear it. So let's see here, and one moment. Yeah, I'm a master cheater when it comes to garb. All right, let's see. All right. Hopefully you can all hear that.
Sounds great.
Is that great? I'm so glad we figured out how to work this. And you can still see me full screen, yes?
Yes,
Okay,
we'll be able to
wonderful.
see you and hear your music.
Yay! This was a struggle. The struggle is real, folks. Okay, I'm going to tilt this down a little bit so you can see my feet a little better at first. So I'll just kind of keep this going in the background. So if you can hear the rhythm, 1, North Africans clap on the offbeat, so I know that there's a time lag with the music, so I'm not sure how good it's going to be with my clapping, but so don't worry too much if that is, it was definitely foreign to me when I started out, and really kind of blew my mind because I have a music background in Western music, and I couldn't figure out where the downbeat was, and it drove me mad. So don't worry if it seems a little challenging. Don't worry too much about the scarves just yet either. So I'll show you the basic foot steps. We can just tap, 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 and tap. And now rock forward and back, forward and back, forward and back, forward and back. Switch feet, forward. This will get you a little warmed up too. And switch, forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, forward, and switch, forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. But this is usually combined with a little bit of a body wave. So just as much as you can, see how I'm just kind of rocking my pelvis back and forth, forward. It should feel natural. It shouldn't hurt in any way. Even if you're not in dance form, it really shouldn't hurt. And then you can go on the other foot and just gently rock. Now we're going to cross and cross. Cross, cross. And now I am shifting my weight to the front foot. One more time. Nice. There. Good. Leg out. Okay. So, the arms, we're just going to go sweep to the right and sweep to the left. And so, again, it doesn't look like much. If you're not holding scarves, but you have the bell sleeves, you still get some of the movement. And I'm just going across my body. Okay. Just to show you what it looks like with the scarves, I take the corner and I wrap it around my middle finger, so then it's secure between my fingers. I don't have to grip it. Okay. Just the scarves. So I'm kind of making a figure 8 or an infinity sign, as you can see. And to really get the scarves to move the way you want them to, you have to think of them as an extension of your fingers and your wrist. So you really have to finish the move at the end with your wrist and then change direction. Okay? We can also just go 1 and 1 with a twist. Okay. So, and then you can do 1 and 1 together. So you're moving the same leg and the same arm. This is one of my favorite songs in the world. Let's try with the scarves, just doing a cross. So again, this is the upper body workout for today. Definitely go at your own pace. Don't overdo it. Okay, you can lean forward in a low position, a medium position, a high position, a medium, and it's a little slower music. 1, 2, 1, 2, and then in place with the figure 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and back again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then both stars. 1, 2. And in front again with the cross. And a little faster now. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then just up and down, up and down, up and down. And watch your hand go up. Watch it go up. And 2, and 3, and 4. And then, is everyone okay with that? Let me just pause for a sec.
You do have one question.
Yes.
Do we have a good idea how much of the period styles remain in the modern Andalusian music and dance forms?
Yeah. Um, in Amel's research, she found, well, first of all, of course, no choreography was written. Sorry, let me scoot down. No choreography was written down. It's a problem with everything that we try to do with dance. The music was written down. Um, and so, really, I think that she found something in Arabic that described some of the moves, and it described dancers dancing with tissues, with the handkerchiefs. And there are some illustrations, I believe, that show this. As for the moves, uh, it's the hardest thing, and that's always been a real sticking issue in the SCA, specifically for Middle Eastern, North African, Central Asian, because these were oral traditions passed down usually from mother to daughter, and they were not written down. So there we have it. Once again, women's work not recorded. So difficult to really say. But I trust Amel's research. I mean, she's a scholar, so um, she was uh, was researching this dance and um, came up with these moves. Again, the fact that the schools were very strict, not saying that there wasn't any change, but they were pretty strict about, you know, maintaining the culture. They had such a strong connection with Al-Andalus, and they did not want to lose that culture. That still, they talk about the golden age. So I know that is kind of an evasive answer, and I apologize, but it's a real, when you come to any kind of dance, it's not written down for the most part. Um, so, and I don't speak or read Arabic, unfortunately, because that would be what it would be in. There you have it. Any other questions? How
That's
are
it
you
in
all
the
doing?
chat.
Okay, how are you all doing with the moves so far? Hope am I going too fast, too slow?
You're right about the upper body workouts. And
Yes.
even without scarves, it is confusing my cats.
Yes. I know I had to kick my cat out because he starts attacking the scarves. All right. Um, well, let me continue, and then at one point I will do a little bit of a demo to one of these songs, and let me put the women's group on again. I like them.
We do have one quick question.
Oh, okay.
Michelle is familiar with Roma influences in flamenco, but what about
Yes.
Andalusia?
Oh my. Okay, let me sit down for a sec because that can be a um, it's a subject that people are definitely researching. I have So the Roma were all over in Africa, um, and the in Morocco there are a lot of dances with foot stomping. Also in Tunisia, Algeria, yeah, some of the Amazigh dances have a lot of foot stamping. Did that come from the Amazigh? Did that come from the Roma? it's the subject of a lot of theories. Um, some say that the influence was from the Roma, and then it extended up into Al-Andalus when the Amazigh, it was really the Amazigh who, or the Amazigh, that came into uh, Al-Andalus, the Moors, right? So they could have brought that with them. And I don't know enough about Roma history to know when they arrived in Al-Andalus, but I do know that there was some crossover. The court style does not have so much of the fancy footwork, but if you look at Moroccan shikhat, um, and I can let me type that in the chat. So when you do a search, if I can here, um, so oops, sorry, this should be to all. Okay, we left northern India around 1000 AD. Yes, yes. Okay. So yeah, this dance, uh, you know, uh, the Amazigh were in Spain before that, but again, the Roma went into North Africa as well. In fact, I have a friend who's descendant of Roma, and he was born in Ethiopia. So it's the influence is huge, and it's also very subtle because they were always not they were on the fringes of society, so it's usually not accredited, unfortunately. Anyway, so uh, it's continued research. Helene Erickson is another good researcher um, that you can look at, and I'll put in uh, Amel Amel Tafsut, and yeah, yeah, and it's true. Yeah, the the Roma are not necessarily saying, here we are, because they were persecuted. And, my family history is Jewish, and we were musicians in Europe and also um, performed a lot with Roma musicians. And both communities often stayed very hidden. Everybody loved the music and the dancing, but then after that, they didn't want you for a neighbor. So it was usually kept pretty hush hush. Anyway, I'll put the music on. Thank you for those questions. I have posted my slideshow, and the notes are in the notes part of the slideshow. Um, and I posted an extensive article about La Grande Robe, which is a researched article. And then I also posted the French, the little French article that a woman wrote, and the attempt at a Google Translate below it. So, yeah, I will need to post some guides about the music. I was very bad. I was very bad about that. So I will have to post some of those. Um, I'm not sure. Lissa, do participants have access to the Google Docs?
I will double check on that and we'll share the link out and make sure everyone's got access.
Okay, okay, thank you. Yes, Halima is saying that she's not seeing it on the event website. So, all right, let's do a few more moves. Thank you for those questions. And again, it's like dance. Dance is ephemeral. You see it, you do it, and then it's gone. And so, they didn't. Would it, what I would send back in time is a frickin' iPhone. That's what I would send back in time. So people could record these and then send them back to us. It would be a dream. But unfortunately, we just have to kind of piece together what we can ascertain. And, dance ethnologists are pretty good because they study what cultures were in the region and what could have influenced the different cultures. But you know, they're the scholars. Even the scholars are not always right. So anyway, I'll shut up. Let's get moving again. This group that I'm playing is Les Femmes de Tétouan. So they're from the city of Tétouan, and it's a female orchestra that is still around today. The recording's from 2010. So. Oh, and then here's, let me switch. This is a song you may be familiar with. People always ask for La Mabada Yetacena. It's a pre-14th century Andalus piece, but it's in 10, so it's a little tricky, but we can still do it. 5, 5. And in front, and overhead, in the middle, and in front, and the middle, overhead, and then just one up. So we can do 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3. And in front, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And then just up, and 1, 2, 3, and up, and up, and 1, 2, 3, and side, and side, and side. Okay, let's try a new one. And this is, one arm is going to go up overhead, the other one is going to go across your body. Okay, and then it'll alternate. So over, and over, and over, and over. Okay, try it a little faster. Gonna go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So again, so the 10 rhythm is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so let me go back to a little more of a familiar rhythm. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes when you don't tell people it's hard, it's easy. And sometimes I think in the West we're so used, and not just West Kingdom, but in Western society we're used to. We have to be able to count it. We want to see, you know, where the notes are landing and everything. And much of this music is very much by feel. And you can feel the rhythm here. Okay, let's do the overhead. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and now with the foot, we're going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. So the foot, what am I doing? I'm going 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So it's kind of a 1, 2, 3 step. Or take a step ball change. I'm rocking and then going back and then together. And then rock back together. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's do it that speed with the arm. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One more time. There we go. Let's try it full speed. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 1, 2, 3. 1, 1. And you can do a little 3/4 turn with this. So do the move, 1, 2, 3, then turn, 1/4. And when your arms are getting tired, you can always just do it in front. Just 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And you can do a little bit of a lunge to the one side. Come back to the middle. And back to the middle. And one side. The other side. One side. And figure 8s in front. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Another trick you can do with the stars. Keep it wrapped around your finger, but grab the end, the opposite end. Okay? But you have to keep that end wrapped around your finger. So I'm losing it right here. Okay? So you can hold it over your head. And again, my feet are just going 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You can also twirl and then whew. You can also 1. And if you are limber, again, please don't do this if you have any back issues or if you're not feeling fully warmed up. I do a lot of tricks as I age with doing back bends, so I'll show you my legs. When I do a back bend, my knees are bent, my abs are held in, my rib cage is up, and I actually bend my knees more, okay? But with a skirt, oh, look at how far back I'm going. Okay, so it can be a little bit of a deception. One of the moves that's nice, when you do this in front, you're kind of in a lunge position. Bend the knees, hold in the abs, lift the rib cage. Hey. So the other thing that's nice with this dance is when you're doing it with a partner. Usually, the way I've seen it is with 3 women usually, and they're usually doing the same moves. Maybe they'll, one will do this, and then the next one will do this. They'll kind of stagger the moves. But most of the time, they're doing the same move. So, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. And if you notice, the music has sped up a little bit as we've gone along, and that is on purpose. It does get faster and faster. Let me put the slower one on. Okay. At this point, I would love for you to just take the moves and just do whatever you want. Don't think too much about it. Don't think if you're doing it right or wrong. This is a beginning class. mostly it's to get you to hear the music, listen to that beat. Ready? Excellent. All right. Great. Any questions?
No,
Yes,
there's not.
may I please?
Yes.
This is Beate from Trios.
Hi.
It is not European at all. Did the Pyrenees hold the French and British and German dancing totally at bay? When did that
Yes.
come into Spain?
It slowly encroached. If you look back at that map on the on my slideshow, it shows how the gradually the kingdoms of Castile and Leon gradually encroached onto the Islamic territory, and but before that, they kept this tradition. They kept this tradition going. So, yeah, and it's not European. It's very different. So, and I think it also has to do. Yes.
I guess I misunderstood the title, Classical Court Dance of Al-Andalus. Andalusia is the Spanish kingdom later, and I was thinking I see European Andalusian thing, but you are doing Al-Andalus while still under the Cordoban and all of that. Okay, it's beautiful.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad you stopped in. Give you a little different flavor. All right. Thank you all so much for coming.